Hello everyone, welcome to this conference organized by Electrical Mirror. And so we're gonna start with welcome and thank you so much for your time here. And as you have attended the session one, what is the basic like 5 takeaways from the session?
Actually, the first session was on testing and measuring instruments, and I was also one of the speakers. So I think all the speakers spoke wonderfully well, especially about the technology. And as the theme is digital and digitization, I think this testing and measuring instruments industry is also progressing and is becoming ready to move into that particular arena, where they are having these digital things by default embedded. So all the instruments people are talking about are having connectivity with the cloud that facilitates, the eventual fleet monitoring, monitoring or asset management as such. With the passage of time, the expert engineers in the field are, getting less and less. So people want automatic, not only the testing but also the interpretation. The analysis also should be given automatic by using the machine learning or the kind of algorithms. So I think the overall journey is happening in that particular direction, and all the papers or the presentations that were there had given us a confidence that we will be in that particular direction sooner than the later. So I think that's what I would like to share.
Yes, now that we have been talking about digitalization and everything, like in electrical field, in other field as well, if for our viewers you have to describe digitalization in electrical field in a very layman terms, how would you do that?
When we started off initially, at that time all the instruments were analog. You had the needles, gauges, and you have to read that. There used to be parallax error, so there was a mirror so that you are reading the right reading. After that came the era of electronics, and we call it as a static electronics, which was being used into the products. Then came the era where it started becoming little more digital, where people started using microprocessors, microcontrollers, and they started giving the connectivity to the computer. But it was always more of a proprietary protocol, proprietary communication, and there was an individual software which was used for analyzing the results which are dumped from that particular instrument into that particular software. But now things are slowly becoming 24/7 monitoring they require. So for that they have a lot of data. Now this data cannot be manually uploaded into the computer. So this is giving rise to 24/7 centralized monitoring. And then this data is automatically getting dumped into the cloud, and then there is access to the cloud which can be again distributed. Anybody can access it from any location. So it has removed the limitation of location. So I think all this is setting up this particular ecosystem where we are able to, like to give you a simple example, earlier we had emails, we had say Microsoft, so we were storing it on our computer, but now you have a Google, it is there on the cloud, you can access it from anywhere. I think the same thing which is it is happening in this particular field of power sector also. And automation, which was earlier very limited, is coming very fast. Earlier it was more of only electrical, then came the electronics, then came the communication, then came the IT, and the convergence of all this is so wonderfully happening that it is able to give the leverage, and we are able to leverage all these technologies so that we are able to handle much wider asset base, much larger, complex and demanding network. I think automation, digitization, without this wouldn't have been possible at all. So I think this is not something that we can wish for. This is something which we mandatorily require.
Very well answered, I must say. And now that we have talked about different aspects, like what has changed, so is the change in behavior of providers of these equipments, machines, meters. So how you have changed, what has changed in your company and the way you used to distribute and create and manufacture?
I think bulk of this happens in R&D and in manufacturing, because you need to learn these new technologies, and technologies are changing very fast. So you need to have sometimes fresh blood, which is more conducive for learning these new technologies, because it's not that old people can't learn it, but it becomes easy. Just to give an example, maybe a 2-year, 3-year child can handle a mobile, but a 70-year adult may not. And same thing is happening. So bulk of that in the R&D domain, and a lot of new devices are coming which are very powerful. Like we are using IGBT in our instrument now, that is much more powerful compared to a microprocessor. So these kind of technologies are required to be learnt in R&D, and naturally, when it comes to the manufacturing, you have to have those systems in place. So we are also required to put those systems in place. The devices we used to use, now we use surface mount devices, surface mount technology. Devices are so small that you can't manually even solder them. So all these things is happening. This is happening very fast, but we are having a control on that. So nothing to fear about that.
So, in a very fast-paced environment now, that is for digitalization in electrical field, what do you think will be the possible future?
And somebody just spoke that the entire world will be one grid, and we are not talking about electrical grid, we are talking about digital grid. So I think this is what is going to become a reality, right from the oven and refrigerator from your house to maybe your SCADA system, everything will be on that particular network which talks on digital language. So that is going to happen. When will depend on our ingenuity and how fast we are accepting these new technologies without fear.
Well, sir, it's all the insightful conversation and answers have literally enlightened us about more about the process and digitalization. Thank you so much for your time.